Cool. So what I want to ask you is that you all close your eyes. Really, I'm not joking. You close your eyes. And together, we're going to Schiphol. We're taking the train to Schiphol. There's a plane waiting for us, sponsored by the Ecosystem Partnership private jet. And we're flying off 10 hours of flight and we're landing in PE. Nice weather, you can open your eyes. PE is situated between Cape Town and Durban area along the east coast. PE is on the moment under water restriction. It's one of the biggest cities in South Africa, and as well as big industry, and just built a new big harbor. So they really have a big demand of water, and they already overutilize their water resources. Then we step in the car, we drive along the N2 into the area we're working, the Baviaanskloof mega reserve. But first you will see the Gamtus Valley. Gamtus Valley is high citrus industry and as well other crop farming. They mainly operate a water system from the Broeck Dam through canals, and they're water restricted. So the next step is you arrive at the Broeck Dam where we're hosting students and we have a learning village. And then the Broeck Dam gets fed out of two catchments, the Baviaanskloof catchment and the Broeck catchment. Two different catchments, one mountain in between, the totally different one. In the one catchment we need to plant trees to restore the catchment. In the other catchment we need to eradicate aliens to restore the catchment. So but the story today is going to mainly be focused on the Baviaanskloof. In this section is private land. Here you see the degradation map. The red is highly degraded, and then the pink moderately degraded. And this mainly is subtropical degradation. Characteristics of the area is almost 45 or more than 45,000 hectares of private land, 27 different land farmers, but then you have to understand you have real farmers, they still farm, but there are landowners like absence landowners, they farm, but they're not a lot there, so they're totally different to interact with. Three small disadvantaged rural communities, and totally different. The one is 70 owners on one land, the other is church-based community. 10 to 15,000 hectares is degraded, and 15,000 hectares still intact. And it's really isolated, rugged. For us to get to our field work, we need at least drive 4 to 5 hours. And most farmers are struggling financially on the moment. Unemployment is as well very high. But when we started the project 4 years ago and we got some funding from the Dutch government, we set up a workshop to identify key research questions in the area. But after that, we realized that we need to establish more than just a research program and developed in a learning network. From that, we started the learning network. But one of the realizations I had over the last 4 years is that when we engage in conservation or in restoration, is so long these kind of pictures happen, where the South African government spends millions and millions to restore a wetland, but in the same catchment, a farmer doesn't care about the wetland and goes with the same amount of wetlands that we just restored. The next picture, see the same thing. South African government is doing amazing good work with eradicating alien on one private land. The other land doesn't care, and so it invests again. And that's a big challenge. So one of the things that we realized over the last 4 years, we need to engage with people. And how do we get them on board? But one of the challenges I find with conservation is we already have that doom scenario and people back off. They think, oh, here they come again, these conservationists, look how bad our is. But when you look at the picture like that, it is really bad. We have a problem. There is an environmental crisis. But I think with restoration and engaging people, we can as well show that there is a hope, but we can engage them within and let them see that when they plant trees, they can create a whole new future. So what I want to do is to take you on a journey that we can move away of quick fixes where we're reactive to the problem, but not really solving it. And compare it, you step to the doctor's office, you sit down and say, oh, I have stomachache. Doctor says, here's a tablet, by go. Problem is solved within. The next thing is we look at redesigning, we put policies in place. A week later, you come back to the doctor because your stomach is still hurting, and you ask him, what are you doing? So he gives not a prescription, but you take the tablets every day. Problem solved. Again, we think. But what we need to do, and what we did in the Baviaanskloof, we need to engage with the value and belief system of a person. And not just understanding that, but engaging that to change. And even bigger, we need to start understanding the source and commitment where that behavior is coming from. Here the doctor really starts talking with you and spend time with you, understanding you. He asks, why do you have stomachache? Oh, I drink 10 liters of Coke every day. Maybe you should stop drinking Coke every day. And here he really starts analyzing why you drink Coke. Maybe you have diabetes, so you need to change even your behavior. So the present journey started 4 years ago. And what I will do is to get through the sessions, and then other presenters will come up and join. And as well, it's a little bit in respect that we're saying what we did, but we didn't really do it, but we realized we should have done. So the first step in the presencing journey is that you start, first of all, I need to say, presencing, we call present because it stands for Participatory Restoration for Ecosystem Services. And presencing journey is institute based in MIT, and there's a technology developed by Otto Scharmer. So we totally nothing to do with each other, but a beautiful synchronicity happened. So co-initiation, what maybe you have to do there, but we have to realize we have to uncover the common intent in the area. Not as we as scientists or project developers come in and we define what should be done. We develop the project and say, here we come and help you out. We need to start listening to the system and really discover what the problem is in the system. And we realized that when we started with the first students, and some of them are here, when we engage with the farmers, and we said it's about carbon and speckbone planting, they didn't engage with us. On the moment we start asking them what is your need, what is your problem, then we start to realize it's all about water loss, productivity, and their livelihoods. And when we start engaging with those problems, they start to engage with us and start to see how they could solve that. And now on the end, they still do what we wanted to do, them to do. Shouldn't say that. But the research, what research should do here, I call the intention of research would mainly be about research for entry. So how do we enter the area? You do that by maybe a stakeholder network analysis, so who is who in the zoo, and who do you engage with, and what are the basic facts in it. And as well, what you do after this phase is you set up a multi-stakeholder, cross-sectoral group. But with those groups, you will then learn together. So we established the presence in Baviaanskloof an integrated catchment restoration program. And one thing we did wrong, we didn't co-initiate a group, so it cost me now a lot of time to always go to talk with all the stakeholders. When you have a working group, it's easier to connect. The next step is co-sensing. It's mainly about observing and observing and observing again and listening. It's connecting with the people and place where you're working in. And it's there, I think, the scientist has to start playing a different role. Is the scientist still going to be the mechanic who analyzes the system, come up with a solution, and then we go to stakeholders, tell them what to do, or we become a midwife of learning, where we take the total system with us and start that they learn with us. So the solution becomes their idea and not our idea, and they become a lot more engaged in ours. So there the research mainly is about, the intent of the research there is mainly about building trust with the stakeholders, engaging them, listening to them, that they feel part of a process. And the other part is creating a crack in a system. And when I say crack in a system, for me, I portray it like you're standing in a building with all glass around you, and it's the system, and you want to create a change, so you need to break something. But before you do that, you only have one stone to throw, so you need to find out which glass is the thinnest and which glass you can crack. But as well that the stakeholders know how, are prepared for that crack. So when the research you're doing therefore is that they realize that they engaged in it, and as well they have that aha moment that they realize we are the system, we need to change us themselves, and then we create real change. But over the last 5 years, or 4 years, we have 50 students who fantastically helped with that. And Alex first going to give some feedback of what some of the research is done in this part.